Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Griefdrums, and welcome back to another episode of Top 3 Tips. This is a video series in which we break down 3 tips from around the Siege community in the hope of helping you improve your game so that you can hopefully rank up a little bit further and achieve what you want to achieve. If you are new around here, I stream over on Twitch 3 times a week on Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and I post weekly content for Rainbow Six when I'm not ill. Last week I was ill, so I just want to apologize for not posting. Now, this is the point in the video very quickly where before we jump into the tips, I go ahead and say that 63% of you that watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you enjoy this video, please go down, hit that subscribe button, and you will get notified of all the future content that I post, tips and tricks, full games, anything like that. It really does help me out. I'm desperate to hit 100,000. I really am, and it's just something I really want to try and push for. So if you can help me out with that, it really would mean the world. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into this week's tips. So the first tip we're going to look at today is going to take us on over to Cafe. This one, I have gone for the reading room as the site. You don't have to necessarily use it on this site, but it can be pretty beneficial. And as you'll see, just inside of this laundry closet, by opening a section of the ceiling just above you here, I can see the window inside of the cocktail itself. This is sort of the east window, and as you can see, it's just next to that hatch. And the really good thing about this is from down here, you can actually look at anyone that is rappelling onto there. If they're trying to rappel upside down and get a pick on someone in cocktail, you can just go ahead and light them up. Now, the logic and reason behind me going reading as opposed to trying to showcase this for the top floor is that if you're defending the top floor, it's very rare that you're going to have people down below site hanging around in laundry because you're quite easily going to get pushed from the white stairs or somewhere like that. But if you are attempting to assist your roamers while you are defending the reading room itself, you can go ahead and cover this window for them to allow them to not have to worry about it. By reinforcing the wall inside of laundry, it gives you a bit of protection. You can play inside of here. You can cover all of the reading room itself. And as and when your roamers are saying there's someone on east window or cocktail window, you can just help them out. I really like this one. It's a nice, simple trick that, realistically can just be another one of the angles that you can potentially cover. Rather than just holding one single angle, having the ability to move around and cover 3 or 4 different ways and help other people out on your team, this is pretty good to know. Now, most people that come up and rappel on this window aren't going to be looking down at the floor just there. They're going to be looking into the site to try and get a line of sight onto people's feet and, actually clear this top floor as opposed to the floor below it. So for them to start getting lit up like that, as you just saw, it's going to be really frustrating. It doesn't work if they're rappelling this way, but anyone that goes upside down, they're going to have a bad day. Next today, we're moving on over to Theme Park, and this is going to be one of those sort of angles that you are very rarely going to use, but when you do, it's going to be one of those clippable moments. It's a pretty interesting angle, but it's also a pretty strong angle, depending on what your team are doing and what you're trying to achieve. Now, by playing outside over on the east side, push over towards the southeast, there is this sort of, I don't know what this is, it's like a castle or something that's built outside of the theme park. But if you go ahead and shoot the break room window out over on your left, you're going to be able to get a line of sight all the way through to the break room door, which leads through into the bunk area. Now, this is somewhere that people tend to transition through if anyone is spawn peeking over there. That's the only way out of that room. And if I jump onto the drone, you can see that the break room is here, and you can see that the bullets are landing just on that metal plate just there. So, as I say, it's going to be a very rare pick that you're going to get this. But it's also something that could be pretty useful. Knowing that you can see all the way to there could be handy. And it's also, it kind of works the other way. If you're a defender and someone is on top of this castle for whatever reason, you get all sorts of Kali players and stuff deciding to randomly go here. You can just open that window and play it from the other way. You can shoot out onto the castle area. The other option for this is by opening the control room window from this castle. You can actually look through to the dragon stairs just there. That's the doorway that leads towards the dragon stairs. Now, catching people rotating through there to try and flank your team is going to be one use for it, but obviously if they're crouching, it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. The other thing you can do is if someone's hanging around there at the beginning of the game, you can go ahead and put a grenade into there, and that will quite easily take anyone out that's moving around in this area. So next up, I wanted to have a very quick chat about Melusi. Now, I'm starting to see more and more common mistakes with Melusi, and it's becoming quite frustrating, to be brutally honest with you. And I kind of wanted to just break down some of the things that I'm seeing so that hopefully you can avoid doing these. Now, one of the things with Melusi is when people go ahead and utilize her gadget, they sort of put it down without really thinking. And what I mean by that is a perfect example would be something like this. You want to slow someone coming through this door. People treat it kind of like a Jaeger ADS, and they'll put it somewhere like that. Now, the difficulty with that is as the attacker comes into the room, it takes about a second or half a second before it starts actually affecting them. If they know it's already there, they can go ahead and flashbang something like this over here, and they can just get rid of it straight away. You know? They just come in, punch it, and it's gone. So something like that isn't that effective, really. This clip right here in the background perfectly demonstrates this. I want to try and push onto the Jaeger, and the Melusi Banshee is too far up and does absolutely nothing to defend that Jaeger. Once I push up, I can hold connector. I come up, the Banshee sees me, I destroy it straight away. It's achieved nothing, it's not done anything, and it allows me to just peek out and get the vault. If this had been placed further down the stairs, it would have stopped me pushing onto that Jaeger and aggressing onto him, and it would have benefited him in a massive way rather than how it ended up. For a doorway like this, if you really want to slow the push, you need to give the attackers something to walk to actually get to it. Now, because this works on line of sight, this is a bad example, but you'll get the idea. Placing it somewhere like this means that they have to actively sort of push through that radius to get to it before they can punch it out. Now, yes, I'll be the first to admit they can use ash breaching rounds, but you can use a breaching round here to get rid of it if it's on that wall, if you really wanted to. Over there, you can protect it with a Wamai disc or something like that, just chucked up inside of here. But if an attacker's trying to get to the Melusi to clear it out, make them move to it, make them walk, make them have to go through that area of effect, giving you the notification that it's happening by, you know, the audio. So you can jump out and peek them as and when you need to, rather than putting it on a wall where they can very quickly get to it. It's the same sort of thing with this sort of an area. This is the default plant spot for this site. People will try and get in, tuck in, and plant just down here. And if you go ahead and just sort of slap it down near a door, by the time they push in, it then starts affecting them. But it's too late, you know? It's that half a second delay of the actual Banshee sort of... I don't know, it's almost like it warms up, if that makes sense. You kind of want to remove that element. By placing it somewhere like this, like the tabletop map, that's going to start affecting them a lot earlier. As soon as they get to here, it's going to start affecting them. They're going to struggle to get over to it. And if they want to just jump into the room, it starts affecting them earlier on. And as you'll see by the circle, the radius here, it affects a lot bigger area. Placing it in the middle of an area like this will affect all of that where the plant's going off. And it affects all the way over to there. You saw the circle. I'll go ahead and do it again. The circle of effect goes all the way over to there. So it covers both doorways. Anyone that comes into here is going to be affected. Anyone that comes through here is going to be affected. Rather than sort of stowing it on one wall, where it's going to affect a much smaller radius. Try and think about where you're positioning these. Finally for today, and I know you're going to say, well, hang on a minute, this is normally 3 tips. We're going to squeeze 4 in here because I don't want to drag these out. I want to make the most of them and give you the most bang for your buck, if you will, inside of these videos. So we're going to go over to Oregon and we're having a look at the game room or the generator room, whatever you call it, on the top floor. And this is the main wall that is normally reinforced, and very often you will see people trying to protect this with either a bandit, a kaid, a mute, whatever it is. Now, the problem with that is the floor below it is destructible, so as soon as that gets done, you will have Ash players, Zophias, Bucks, whoever, come downstairs, and they will just open up the ceiling of the classroom so that they can look up and actually see whatever is stopping you from getting that wall. Once they go ahead and take this out, it makes it very, very simple for the Ace or Thermite player to go ahead and open the wall upstairs, and it kind of becomes a bit of a death trap then, you know? It's very, very difficult to sort of hold this area once that wall is open. There are ways to do it, but it can be tough. One of the other options, which I took from a Pro League game, I've got to be honest, I can't remember which game it was coming through to the master bedroom, shooting this set of drawers just here, and placing the Kaid Electroclaw inside of it. Now, as you can see, the client-side debris hides it, and it actually electrifies one of the walls. Now, let's be real. How often are you going to come into this room and check inside of the master bedroom that there is an Electroclaw inside of this chest of drawers? You're just not going to do it. Now, this does kind of rely on Thatcher being banned, because even if Thatcher places his EMPs right into the corner, it is going to take this out, but it would anyway, you know? So I would personally ban Thatcher if you're planning on doing this, and just make their life a little bit more difficult. Make them take a Maverick, or alternatively, if they're trying to blow the floor up, they're not going to be able to see this Electroclaw. Now, for the other side, you do need to place the other claw quite far out. You want to place it as far away as possible so no one can see it, so any explosions don't get it. And if I go ahead and shoot this section of the floor out, you'll notice that that actually looks down into the corridor rather than the classroom. So if people are going in to blow up the classroom, they're not going to get this. One really good thing to do is just place it so it's just touching, you know, it's right out there. It's barely touching the wall. Because it's just so far away, it's going to make it somewhere that people don't really look for it. I personally prefer placing it higher up. I would place it a bit further out than this. But as you'll see here, that light, it's going to force people into the room. The light is going to potentially block it. This is just another way to hopefully keep this wall closed for a little bit longer. I'm afraid that's going to be it for today's video. I have gone on a little bit longer than I expected to. However, I wanted to try and squeeze 4 tips into this video rather than just the normal 3. Hopefully they help you out. Hopefully it gives you some food for thought and you can take these away and implement them into your game. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting that thumbs up. If you don't already, make sure to subscribe for all things Rainbow Six. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay reckless and relentless.